What's up YouTube fragrance family and friends, Tommy with Studio Sense here with another video review and a kind of a short list of fragrances that I've been wanting to try out along with a brand new release. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Perry Ellis Midnight release, which is a fresh new oriental fougère on the market. It's actually now available at discounters, so it's not spanking new. The shine is kind of worn off of it a little bit, so it's a few months old. And then I've got a couple of fragrances from Vince Camutos Virtu Terra, I believe. And then we're stepping back to the year 2007 with a retro vibe from Pierre Cardin Pour Homme. So when we come back, we're going to take a closer look at each one of these fragrances. That and more is coming up, so stay tuned. Welcome back everyone, and welcome to today's video. We're going to be kind of sort of unboxing fragrances here. I've actually unboxed them. It's not a huge difference from what I'm used to doing and what you're used to seeing. It might save a little bit of time and we can focus more on the fragrances themselves and what's important about them. So the very first fragrance that we're going to be talking about today is a relatively new release. It is from the house of Perry Ellis. It is Perry Ellis Midnight. Prior to Midnight, there was Perry Ellis Bold Red that was released about 2020, I think, and that one, it was a perfect fall and autumn fragrance. This one promises to be a fresh, clean oriental fougère along the similar lines as Bold Red, although it's going into a little bit darker, less red, more amber vanilla combination. Talk about the presentation. The box itself is that weird satiny smooth. It's almost got like a tactile feel to it, a little bit of a pull. Feels almost like a rubber, kind of a faux rubber. It's got Perry Ellis in white. The box is all black with that Perry Ellis wave, like this, like a sand dune or a sea. This says Midnight Eau de Toilette, 3.4 fluid ounces or 100 ml. On the very back of the box, you've got your ingredients listing, your caution, some tags and stickers. And on the very bottom, you've got your UPC. And pretty much that's it. There's nothing on either side of the box, just a little bit of that sand dune or sea graphic that wraps around the one side there. Box feels kind of neat. I don't know if you like that tactile or satin or soft rubber feel. That is what the box is doing. It actually carries over a little bit into the bottle. The bottle also is completely black, aka Midnight, which is an appropriate name. So it's completely black. There's no blue to it at all. So it's a solid black. The lid is a solid black. This has kind of an eggshell or satin sheen to it, and Perry Ellis is white, kind of a shiny white, going down the right side of the bottle. Nothing on either side of the bottle. On the very back, it's completely opaque or black. Then of course you've got your Perry Ellis sticker on the bottom with the batch code and Eau de Toilette. What about the note breakdown in Perry Ellis Midnight? Perry Ellis Midnight features top notes of apple, mandarin orange zest, and cinnamon, with heart notes of rosemary, geranium, and orange blossom, resting on a base of amber, vanilla wood, and tonka bean. What really turned me on to this fragrance was that interesting combination of notes. So let's go ahead and check out the juice and see what it smells like. Atomizer is actually really quality, sprays a good bit of juice there. Wow, very fresh, very crisp. There is a very fresh apple in this open. Of course, you can't use fruit juice in fragrance, obviously, so it's a fantasy note or a recreation or mimicking of a fruit smell, but I really like it. It's a very fresh, crisp note. So getting past that open, becoming a little bit sweeter, I can sense this is going to go in darker territory, a little bit muted on the tester strip, but I really like where this is going. I'm quite surprised by this one. Perry Ellis typically produces a more muted, safe fragrances. This one is kind of riding that fine line. It's a little bit more bold than what their typical fare is. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it on skin. So I really like that. I'll let that dry for a second. I'm a fan of the Perry Ellis Midnight. I can tell you that right now. And especially at the price point when it was originally released, I think Macy's had it for like $72, which is typical for a Perry Ellis fragrance when it first comes out. But now it's at discounters for right around $33, $34, and that's a really good price for this fragrance. This reminds me of a fusion of Paco Rabanne's Pure Excess and Kenzo Homme Eau de Parfum. It's got kind of a dark, rich, lightly powdery, lightly balsamic air and feel and vibe about it. Now this would be a perfect date night fragrance. It's oriental, spicy, fougère. It has all those components that are perfect for cooler weather. And it's also got kind of a seductive vibe or air about it. Now at discounters, definitely worth the $33 price for this oriental spicy fragrance. Next up, we have a fragrance from Vince Camuto, is Vince Camutos Virtu. I think it came out in like 2018 or 2019. This one has, the box is all silver with black highlights. So you've got a silver box, Vince Camutos Virtu here. The Vince Camuto seal is in black. It is an eau de toilette concentration and a 50 ml bottle. I opted just to get the smaller bottle. On the very back, it's kind of hard to see because of the foil. You've got your ingredients, got your warning, your stickers, your address, contact information. You've got your SKU or UPC and the batch code across the bottom. It has a shiny wraparound this time. Most of them are like leather or a type of cloth or a faux leather. But this one has a very shiny wraparound. It's almost like plastic, but even a bit shinier. So it's almost like metallic, but it looks really cool. And of course, in the very back, you've got your where it's sewn together, which is a really neat look. Same for the bottle, or same for the stopper, the lid. And of course, you've got your silver atomizer and silver base on this one, and then your information across the bottom. This is an eau de toilette. Virtu is an eau de toilette. What is in the fragrance itself? Let's talk about the note breakdown of Vince Camutos Virtu. Vince Camutos Virtu features top notes of Turkish cardamom, crushed peppercorn, and fresh papyrus, with heart notes of fresh tree moss, white birch, and Haitian vetiver, resting on a base of warm cedar, Tuscan leather, silky musk, and Indian sandalwood. You know, who doesn't like a fragrance with a nice resinous Tuscan leather in there? And let's check this one out. Oh, that went literally all the way to my couch. That was weird. Okay, so the atomizer is busted on this one. I think it's going to give me an okay opportunity to smell it on the strip there. Nice. Now, I used the word muted earlier, so I'm just going to say straight up, I like this. I like this. I like it. But it's one of those that I don't think is going to dry down and become very much more than what it is on a tester strip. Combination of papyrus and white birch, I think, is a masterstroke in a fragrance. White woods are a lighter, they're on the upper register, so they're much lighter, much brighter, and I think a bit more refined, a bit more sophisticated. So it has to be done right. So when you combine things like peppercorn, cedar, tree moss, along with papyrus, white birch, I think it's a great combination. I think it works really well. And I think it works really well in Virtu. And I think Virtu has just the right combination of musk, sandalwood, that Tuscan leather, that papyrus, the white birch, the peppercorn, and tree moss. It's refined and sophisticated enough to be worn by almost anyone. But I do feel like that the younger audience may be ostracized by the, I don't want to say challenging nature, but by the non-crowd pleasing nature of this fragrance. You fragrance aficionados out there, I think, might just enjoy the subtle vibes of Virtu. That's probably going to be the greatest challenge of Vince Camutos Virtu, is there's virtually no projection on this fragrance. Not a ton of people are going to enjoy it, but maybe just those intimate few around you and yourself. Vince Camutos Virtu. Next up, we have another Vince Camuto fragrance in the same line of fragrances, and this one is Vince Camutos Terra. So like the name implies, it's more earthy, herbaceous, going in kind of that direction. Now this one has silver highlights with kind of a terracotta tan brown kind of look to it with the silver Vince Camuto seal. This one is also a 50 ml bottle and an eau de toilette concentration. On the back, just like the other box, you've got your ingredients listing, your address information, some warning information. On the bottom, you've got your stickers, your UPC, and your batch code. And their bottles are pretty cool. I like this one. This one actually has that pleather or leather feel. If it's actual leather, then kudos to Vince Camutos, because that would be really a nice nod to the presentation. But even if it's not, you've got your very large stitching going down the back of the bottle, just like all of them. So definitely like the bottle. But what about the fragrance itself? Let's talk about the note breakdown of Vince Camutos Terra. Vince Camutos Terra features top notes of Sicilian bergamot, grapefruit, and mandarin orange, with heart notes of geranium, sandalwood, and rhubarb, resting on a base of woods, tonka bean, and vanilla. Give me that rhubarb, vanilla, tonka bean, and sandalwood all day long. I feel like I'm gonna like this one, so let's go ahead and bust it out and try it. Rhubarb is a nice kind of sweet and sour combination. It's also got a light fruity sense about it, and when you combine that with like vanilla, man, it's really nice. Now this one has an excellent atomizer on it. Oh man, yeah, I can get that rhubarb in there too. My grandmother used to make an amazing rhubarb pie. Definitely smell it in here. This one is a bit reminiscent of Bulgari's Terre Essence, but I would say more on the crowd-pleasing side, so there's a little bit sweeter. The grapefruit and the orange in this smells really good combined with that rhubarb and with that vanilla. So automatically, I like this a lot more than Virtu. It's stronger, so it's projecting more, so you're going to get more bang for your buck in terms of the fragrance. So other people around you are going to be able to enjoy it. What I think you'll really appreciate about Terra is that even though the fruity opening doesn't last throughout the life of the fragrance, rhubarb takes over. So you get this sweet and sour rhubarb about halfway through the life, even though you smell it in the open as well. But it takes over from the fruit standpoint after the fruits have given up the ghost, and the rest of this fragrance goes into that darker territory where you get the woody backbone along with the tonka bean, along with the vanilla, and then the rhubarb. That's where this shines. That's pretty much where it stays. Really inexpensive casual wear fragrance. Going to be right around the $35-$40 mark for a 100ml bottle, but it combines sweet and sour with vanillic, sweet, woods, and just a touch of earthy essence to give just the right head-turning, compliment-pulling, slightly crowd-pleasing. It's not going to please everyone, but for the most part, I think you'll be really pleased with Vince Camutos Terra. Next up, we're going to step back to the year 2007 with a fragrance that is going to be slightly retro, slightly gentlemanly, definitely from a fragrance house that I rocked out when I was in high school, and that is Pierre Cardin Pour Homme. The box itself is blue with kind of this 70s stylized theme going on. It says Pierre Cardin Pour Homme on the front. For men, it is an eau de toilette concentration, 50ml bottle. Nothing much on the size of the box. On the very back, you've got your ingredients listing, your address information, and on the bottom, your stickers and UPC. It's kind of a metallic foil look. The bottle it kind of reminds me of what Salvatore Ferragamo tries to do with some of their bottles, that twisty, like the Subtil, Subtil Pour Homme. Sectioned off, like there's 3 sections to the bottle itself, and it's twisted like that. So you've got Pierre Cardin Pour Homme. The topper, the cap is silver, and then of course you've got your sticker on the very bottom of the bottle. Now this one is going to be, I say it's going to be gentlemanly, so it's going to be very familiar to the mid to early 2000s. There are a ton of notes. Let's try out the juice. This one has pineapple, bergamot, melon. Yeah, so there's melon in this. I think melon is in the open. It's got jasmine, lavender, nutmeg, orange blossom. There's a bit of cinnamon in the heart, amber, rosewood, ebony, musk, cedar, tonka bean, vanilla. Literally, it has every fragrance note that is in every modern fragrance ever. So I'm expecting kind of like a generic kitchen sink, gentlemanly 2000s kind of retro vibe. There's a bit of a lemon sensation, a bit of a melon sensation, but also kind of a heavy weighted musk about this. And I don't know that that's a great combination. I think it's an okay combination. It might change up on skin. I'm sure it will quite a bit. There's a lot of alcohol in this fragrance. It's a very inexpensive fragrance. You can get a 50ml bottle for like $15. That's really inexpensive. but I've always wanted to try it out and see if I missed anything, because back in the early mid 2000s, I was wearing other stuff. I wasn't wearing this. So eventually I want to go back and try all those fragrances that came out that I missed, that I didn't wear, and see if they're any good today. Now this one is just okay. It's got a vibe. It's got more of like a tonic spritz vibe to it. If you're wanting something that's going to be fresh, lightly fruity, a little bit musky, with some nuances of a ton of different fragrance notes in there that are really hard to pick and choose, you know, amongst them. They just kind of combine to a singular whole. But it's not an unpleasant whole. It's just a lightly generic, but lightly retro. 15 bucks, you know, you can do worse, but it's definitely not on my list of fragrances that I really want to wear. Pierre Cardin Pour Homme. Well guys, thanks so much for your time and attention today as we went over these 4 fragrances. The surprises to me were Perry Ellis Midnight. I really like that. I think it's a very solid oriental fougère fragrance for a new release. So I'm definitely looking forward to wearing that one and giving you guys a full review of that. Virtu, I actually didn't think I would like, and I do like, but the challenge with that is it's just not very powerful. It doesn't really go anywhere, but it is a nice, refined, slightly sophisticated, really even elegant kind of fragrance for people that are 20, 25 up. Not that I like putting an age on a fragrance, but there you go. And then Terra was a surprise to me because I didn't think I would like it as much as I like it. I actually like it better than Virtu. And that one projects a bit more. It's nice, it's rich, it's got that little bit of earthiness. It's similar to the Bulgari Terre essence that was recently released. So it reminds me of that a bit, but it shines in the territory of rhubarb, vanilla, tonka bean, and woods. It's just a great combination. Pierre Cardin Pour Homme is a light but subtle pass from me. It's okay. It's just an okay fragrance. What about you? If you own any of these fragrances and you have something you want to share or something you want to say about them, please do so in the comments below. And if you feel like there are other fragrances that are similar to these that you really like, share those with us as well. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out today's video. And as always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.